Data center fabric properties. So here I have my fabric, spines, and leafs. I have my attachment points happening at the leafs. The goal is to have scale, as I mentioned earlier. So east-west, I want to have high resiliency and high efficiency, as well as predictable latency. I want to have the any VLAN, any subnet, anywhere pervasive throughout this fabric. The idea here is we want to reduce failure domains. So historically, a failure domain was quantified to a VLAN. What we're doing is we're pushing the failure domain down to the leaf layer. So here the failure domain is happening here at each TOR, top of rack switch, or leaf. And the reasons why I say that is, just speaking from experience, if you have a bad NIC behaving on the network, the NIC is like denial of servicing or DOSing your network. When we reduce the failure domains, you are now pushing that failure domain in that traffic just to the top of rack switch. Historically, that would go up to the top part of your L2, L3 boundary. With the fabric, now we're containing that and pushing that failure domain down to a given leaf or leaf pair. Extensible scale and resiliency, that's what the fabric gets you to, where I have multiple paths to get to any given destination. And I want to have this whole simplistic approach to where I want to have simplified configuration and template-based configuration, to where I want to move away from the CLI-centric paradigm, if you choose to do so, to where we have a centralized controller that can help with automation provisioning of the different devices that are attaching in the network, as well as the policy that goes along with those attached devices. So now as we look at the spine leaf topologies, again, the spines are here, your leafs are down here. I have high sectional bandwidth here to where I can accommodate for any leaf failure, spine failure, and or link failure. I can get you high bisectional bandwidth from any leaf to any leaf. The hop count is 1, which based upon this topology, this is the best mathematical topology to where I would go from hop count of 1 from any given leaf to any given leaf within this topology. Meaning I have uniform reachability and very deterministic latency towards very predictable on a hop by hop basis or leaf to leaf perspective, or application to application point of view. It's very deterministic. I can monitor and measure that in a very consistent and uniform basis. Now, if you choose to change your subscription ratios from the leaf to the spine, the beautiful thing about the spine leaf close-spaced fat tree architecture is I can add additional spines. So here I added 2, and I added 2 more uplinks from this leaf to this spine, to where I can change my subscription ratio on an as-needed basis depending on my scale, my agility, and my east-west traffic flows. I can also add a 2-tier spine to this topology, meaning if I had a pod here, if this depicted pod 1 and I had another one sort of over here to sort of copied and pasted this at another pod 2, I could have this 2-tier spine or super spine interconnect these 2 pods together. The thing to call out here is pod-to-pod connectivity would have to have an extra hop, i.e. the 2nd-tier spine, between the 2 different pods. With that, we have a variety of southbound topologies and connectivity options. So depending what we're connecting into it, we can leverage your existing FEX or fabric extender Nexus 2000 investment and connect them to the leafs in a hybrid approach. It doesn't be pervasive, but you can pick and choose which leafs make the most sense for that. You still have blade switches, you have hypervisors, and in the next section we'll get into the options to connect blade servers, blade switches, hypervisors, bare metal, etc., as well as services in an active-active or an active standby. And the nice thing about this is you can pick and choose whatever makes the most sense for you and your organizations to connect on how you have operationalized or have best practices as far as host connectivity. We also have the way services can be attached into the services leaf that I mentioned earlier. Then we also have the notion of the external connectivity or external networks that would be part of the border leaf role and definition, or the border spine concept that I denoted earlier as far as border spine and or border leaf for external connectivity.